Get out of the kitchen. Come on. Let's see. Hello, everybody. My name is RODGON. I'm an artist. I'm a designer. I'm a teacher. And more than anything, today I am your guide through the world of cartooning. Hello, everybody. Hi. Yes, I'm on time for once. Yay, I'm on time for once too. Woo! Anyways, hello, everybody. Let's begin. So, our lesson today is going to be maybe interrupted by the same construction stuff that I've having to deal with for the last month or so. So, if my lesson does get cut, I am very sorry because that is just something that I've had to deal with for a very long time now. But I'm going to talk quickly and swiftly about a topic that normally is really hard to understand. And that topic today is going to be the almighty collarbone area. This general area right here that tends to be a freaking nightmare for people to learn. Okay? We are going to focus strictly on how to understand the collarbone and how to make that work better. Opayemi Candy, I'm sorry, I'm not going to take any of your lives. You guys kind of waste my time most of the time whenever I actually do those. This is not to be mean, but you guys don't really ask questions. And you guys just want attention most of the time, which is not something I'm willing to provide for you because I just don't feel like it. So, if you learn how to focus on where your arms actually originate from, drawing things a little bit more structured tends to be a little bit easier. Understanding how those body parts work with each other is what allows you the ability to do things like tell stories, make actions happen. Understanding anatomy in general is what's going to help you understand how to move your body. It's not your style. It's not learning straight versus curves and all that stuff. No, it's understanding where your body parts connect and what angles they connect in. And the collarbone is no different. There is a mathematical way to be able to explain and a logical way to explain where this goes. And that is what I'm going to aim to teach you guys today. The collarbone. Okay, so we're going to focus on that. Now, if you guys want to stay for the lesson, all I require from you guys is one thing. All I need from you is to hit that little heart button. If you guys hit that little heart button and you guys share my stream, I get to be a teacher to a bigger audience. By doing so, I help more people out that will benefit from this knowledge. It's not for me to get more followers, which is also nice, but at the same time, I just want to be able to be the best teacher I can for as many people as I can. So if you guys want to help me achieve that goal, please just make sure to hit that like button whenever you guys listen to something that actually benefits you. And only then. I don't ask for anything else. If you guys see something that you guys enjoy, that you guys benefit from, that you guys learn from, then hit that little heart button. If you guys don't. Move on from the stream if you guys don't feel like you guys are getting anything. And I'm perfectly okay with that transactional. But help me out and I'll help you guys out. All right, so let's move on to the actual topic. How do we even know where to put this thing right here? These bones, those super complicated bones at the top of our body. So let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the very beginning of things, the body, right? The human body can be broken down in the way that I draw it. It's very simple. It's two shapes. A circle, which becomes a sphere by dividing it into four. That gives you two quadrants, and these are your hip bone pivot points. From here down, you set the distance of your legs, like the width. And then from there, you set the length of your legs. Ta-da! Once you do that and you get used to drawing a circle split in 4, belly button and hip bones, you can use that knowledge to be able to draw things in all sorts of positions. Just learning how to divide something into those 3 guidelines can be a huge differentiation in how you decide to draw your stuff. Because once you have a connecting point, all it takes is just understanding how to draw a little cone or a little cylinder, and then learn how to move that in space by making things bigger, things smaller, and then ta-da, you have an entire lower body system incredibly quickly. Now, the easier way to go about this is to learn the simple thing called a sushi. This is through mapping points, right? So this is mapping. Now, visually, this is how you do it. You draw it with a circle. At the edges of your circle, you're going to go down, and then you're going to go in. And like that, you're going to create the same mapping points, but you're going to have a general flow of your body. So remember, the sides of your body don't really have many like dents and curves. They really don't. A human body in itself is kind of straight down. If you really, really observe people, this is a general shape of a person. Yes, they do have a head and they have arms, but the general human body is literally just a little tiny thing like that. And if you bend it, you can bend this in any direction you want as long as you understand where the edges go. Whee! Woo! So if you understand how to move a simple shape in space, you have the ability to pose people. Now, a lot of the times we have issues because we want to put a lot of style into this, right? We want to go like, yeah, I want super cool calves and I want like super big shoulders and big arms, but we don't understand how that connects to the body, so then everything just looks like they're floating. When all you really need to learn is the thing that we're going to learn today, which is the collarbone. Now, understanding the bottom part of the body, relatively simple, right? There's a whole video on this, by the way. So you guys can go see the sushi video on YouTube. Sushis. Okay? So that one's going to teach you guys how to draw the lower body, incredibly simple. Like by the end of that video, you guys will be able to pose your lower bodies in any shape you want. And it's not necessarily like an over-exaggeration. It's just going to be incredibly eye-opening for you. Because it's something that constantly gets told to me that is like, oh my God, that is amazing. From professional artists that have been doing this for 30 years. So just go explore it. It's like an hour-long video that could possibly make your art better. I don't know. Those odds sound pretty good to me. So I would probably do it. Even if it didn't, it can't hurt to draw for an hour. So if you're going to draw, might as well draw with a video that's going to maybe help you see things differently. Just saying. I don't know. Up to you. But let's move on to the upper body. The upper body is a little bit different. The upper body is not a circle. The upper body is easier to be drawn like an egg. So if you draw an egg for the upper body, and you draw a circle at the top, that's going to be the width of your head. And Officer Mustache here agrees with me. That is essentially how you would draw the upper body. Then the collarbone comes from this circle. The collarbone is going to be these two bones that go all the way to the edge of your shoulder. So whatever distance you do from here to the outside is going to be the distance from there to your shoulder, to the outside of your shoulder, not the middle of your shoulder, not the imaginary point of your shoulder. No, the outside of your shoulder. If this is the outside of your arm, because this is the outside of your shoulder, you need to be able to make it have some sort of volume, right? Whatever muscles you draw, you're going to draw them inside and connecting them back to the body. If you do that, you have a very easy semblance for arms. So understanding that is very important. And then from there, the collarbone also gives you your pectoral muscles. The middle of your collarbone is going to give you that middle of your rib cage, that division. And then from the end points that you come, the end shoulder points, you're going to draw a little U that connects it back to the middle of your rib cage. That is going to give you a curve, which you can use to draw that circle that we did on the legs. That same circle, now you have access to it on the top. It also does kind of look like a macaroni. So another way of seeing it is an egg and drawing a macaroni at the top. Draw the circle and you end up in that same situation. Okay, so you can do that. This is the outside edge of my arm, outside edge of my arm. And I bring it in. I bring all the volume inside, allowing things to overlap, allowing things to cover other things up, and allowing things to just not be seen. If it's covered, it's not seen. And be okay with that. That is the one thing that you have to learn to be okay with. Learning to be okay with drawing through your shapes and mustache. You're killing me here. You want bunny? You want bunny time? Okay, you want bunny. Bunny, go fly. There you go. He just wanted bunny to be tossed. So you draw an egg. You draw a circle, and then you can use a compass. That compass is going to guide your arm wherever direction you want it to go in. Okay? If you want it to go this way, that compass is going to split your shoulder in half. So that is going to be the division for your shoulder. That has your bicep in the front, your tricep in the back. And then your forearm comes in and goes connecting like that. As you can see, you can just follow the inside. Outside for the shoulder, that needs a 3-point connecting system with that little section. But that's easy. It's like armor. Like, once you find your pose, draw 1 point here, 1 point here, 1 point here, and connect them with curvy lines. And you have shoulders. And if you want them really wide, just make that a little bit wider. Ooh, cool. So shoulders are an accessory muscle. It's kind of like for show. Not necessarily like really, but like when you're drawing, it's something that you can just add later. And it's kind of interesting how that works. Because the shoulder is what complicates everybody's like way of drawing the body. Like the things that normally complicate this mustache. Stop. There you go. He's worse than the construction workers, for Christ's sakes. He's just lucky he's cute. So if you take away the whole concept of the head, okay? If you take away the whole concept of the head, you end up with a system that kind of goes like this. Your arms flow from one side to the other, and they end. Right? That's the arms, and the breaking point happens to be at the back of the spine. So the back of the spine is what helps you understand where to move your arms. This is the breaking point. Now, on a simple shape, that's the case. When you start adding more anatomy, you need to realize that there's a couple muscles in the middle that prevent you from doing that. That's what the compass is. The compass gives you that spacing. That compass is the back muscles and your collarbone. And this is what gives you access to having that pivot point a little bit more separated. But essentially, it's still pivoting from that back space in your rib cage. So your back muscles connect. And again, this is the outside edge of your arm. Overlaps happen, but all the volume gets put inside. Once you find the outside edge, it's all about knowing how much is going to overlap coming inside. And once you understand the basic mapping points that I taught you, you can understand how that whole system works off of this little compass. Are the triangles here? Or these? This right here, I'll draw you guys an actual drawing, like instead of just guidelines. Hold on. So what you're drawing here is you're drawing a guideline like that, right? A little compass that's gonna lead to a cylinder. If you guys want to learn how to do those heads, there's a video entirely on that on YouTube. There is a circle, and then you draw an egg for a rib cage. Okay, let's say that we have just these very basic guidelines. By this, I can give the middle of my rib cage. I have my collarbone already, so I can just guide that there. I have my shoulder, and I have my head. My ears are on the side of my head, just pure logic. My ears being on the outside of my head and the ears being the thing that connects to my body, that just means that that cylinder goes straight down into my neck. And then I have my jaw, whatever jaw I want to draw for the character, with a chin, with no chin, whatever. The face is going to be within this area, but we're not talking about the face, so I'm just going to do my basic mapping. Okay. From there, the bottom of my ears connects to the middle of my collarbone and creates the muscles for it. From here, these mapping points are the sides, so my body can either taper down, or if I want more muscle, it can bulge up, going there. If I want a more slender person, if I want a more muscly person, or if a person's flexing. My arm, this is the outside of my arm, but I need to draw my pectoral muscles first, so I can understand the width of my arm. The pectoral muscle can be drawn to different sizes. If you want a really big character, you would draw it up to here. If you want a more dainty character, you would draw it a little bit smaller, connecting it to a smaller portion. If you want breasts, instead of draw the pectoral still, because you still need to connect your arm to that, but then draw a little heart coming from the back of that little circle. And now you have access to breasts of any size you want. Okay? Little tiny ones, little big ones, droopy ones, saggy ones, whatever. You have access to breasts completely from that section. Bloop. Then from there, we have our arms. Our arms width is determined by the size of our pectoral muscle and where we decided to do this. From there, all you have to do is draw a couple circles and connect the edges. Ta-da! Learning a little bit of perspective will help you a lot. Learning a little bit of anatomy will help you a ton, but helping a lot of perspective is going to be your best thing to learn when it comes down to appendages. Perspective is number one, for sure. All those things happen because we understood how to draw a circle and a compass. Our shoulders come from one point in the collarbone in the front, 1 point in the back, and 1 point length. How long do you want that shoulder to be? And then you connect it as a curve, and you connect it as a curve, going around the collarbone. And you have access to shoulders. And you can add those at the end. The shoulders can be at the end. The shoulders, when it comes down to drawing, really, they play a really little part when it comes down to the design aspect of things. So again, when you eliminate the complicated parts, which are your shoulders and your head, you end up in a way that you can draw your arms pretty much from a sphere. And then whenever you draw your head, just connect that as a compass to the outside edge of your shoulders. And then you have yourself an entire body system from a circle. Yay! How do you connect the lower body to the upper body? Ooh, well, we have to talk about that too, right? But let me explain a little bit more about this, because a lot of people are going to be drawing them just like this. Check this out. When we have our collarbone in our rib cage, wherever we place our head is going to be a big roll, okay? If we place our head here, our body looks like it's standing straight up, right? What happens if we move our head here? It looks like the person's bobbing down. Her shoulders would probably be a little bit higher, right? What happens if we lower the head completely? If we lower the head completely, there is a certain thing that happens with our collarbone. If you look into a mirror, if you go and you look into a mirror, even if you're doing like a push-up, right? Let's say that you're going down into a push-up position. That collarbone is going to roughly be where your ears are. It's weird. Like there's a very weird connection between this that I haven't like linked completely. But there is a connecting thing where your ears are kind of like in a straight line with your actual collarbone most of the time. So whenever you're like bending your head and stuff like that, there is a way to measure that. Like there's always going to be a certain part of your head that goes above your body. And that's something that I'm starting to analyze when I work out right now and just trying to see if I can figure it out. So I'm like trying to do like holds and stuff like that while I draw. So I have relatively decent muscle structure. So it's really cool to be able to study my own body. It's really dope. Like I get to work out and look better, and I get to study my own body because I took the time to have a little bit of fitness in my life. So that's really cool to be able to do. Highly recommended for all those lifelong scholars of art. Being able to study your own body in a mirror is one of the most cool things that you can do. So understanding how that moves the collarbone, understanding how to draw the back of the body due to the collarbone is really fun. If you draw an egg, again, because it doesn't change, the body doesn't change going around. It might be thinner if you see it as a profile, but I still leave it the same. I draw an egg, and then I draw a collarbone. Now let's say I want this to be a back pose, not a front pose. Well, that's going to give me the back of my spine. And then instead of drawing that entire cylinder going up, I just draw the cylinder, but I draw a little bit of a taper in the back like that. I allow this little tiny taper to be the back of my head. The reason that happens is because the back muscles connect like this to the back of your head. So from that circle, you can draw a little connecting points like this, tapered, and now you have access to a head from the back. From you knowing that same compass. This later on translates to that. Okay, that's what it translates to. That little taper right there, that's because you have two muscles that connect up from that circle and your rib cage. Oh, we're getting to that. We're getting to the neck. So we have to explain how the neck muscles connect so that you guys understand how this is going to twist. So you guys notice this little tiny point at the top of the rib cage? That little tiny point, right? That little point where the egg connects to the actual spine at the top of the rib cage, that is your pivot point for your neck. So when you draw your egg for your rib cage, you draw that circle, that top point is going to be your spine. That's going to be where your head originates from. That is where those muscles are, and that's the back of your head. Any volume that you draw to the front is going to give you a head. And all you have to do is connect it back to that circle, and you have yourself an entire face with a neck. This is your pivot point. If you move the spine, it moves everything else. So if you move your spine anywhere, that moves all the volume alongside with it. And then you just have to connect it back to that original point. Hey, RODGON, do you think before the pen touches the paper? Nah, I don't like to think before I draw. I think that takes away a little bit of my, what I like to do. I like to challenge my brain. I have to train my brain to be able to come up with things on the spot because I teach for a living. I draw publicly to, what is it now, 11,000 people so far. Or maybe a little bit less than that because not everybody likes it. But if you guys do, we're dangerously low on likes. We need to up this number. We are low. We need to up. Yeah, so, somebody, hold on. Somebody there? Hey. Está bien. Vente. You got this. Hey, deja de brincar.
¿Va a estar el arquitecto acá?
Sí.
Él les va a
Hola.
estar en supervisión.
Okay.
En el departamento que muchos están preparando para entrar. Te dejo los códigos.
Es más, te lo digo ahorita porque ya estoy buscando. Va a ser un gris medio oscuro.
Ajá.
Tienen los grises. Gris. Tenía que usar estas cosas para cosas de diseño. Va a ser uno parecido a este, o algo cerca de este.
Ok.
Y va a ser una buena parte del apartamento. Quería todas las paredes principales hasta aquí. Lo daré en comando de blanco, por favor, para separar la cocina.
Ok.
Y en gris, en realidad, la mayoría del apartamento, menos de los baños. En los cuartos también, o sea, las paredes en realidad grises y luego el techo blanco.
Ok.
Es muy, muy sencillito.
Vamos a quedar
Sería un gris así de este tono parecido. O sea, en realidad no soy muy específico, nada más que este es un poquito muy oscuro.
Sí. Mira, para...
Cualquier tono en este rango.
Más oscuro que claro.
Si queda uno entre estos dos, pues también está. O sea, el rango en gris simplemente tenía que ser un poquito más oscuro.
Ok. Yo creo que me iría con esta canción. Para que sea gris y no azul y no morado.
Perfecto.
¿Sí?
Claro.
Y sería todos los muros.
Sí, todas las paredes.
Todas las
En
paredes.
vez de solamente los baños, si me los deja de los colores que.
En blanco.
Y déjenme esta pared blanca también.
Esta pared.
La única solamente en las zapatos,
Sí.
para que cuando entre la gente pueda ver.
Y recámaras.
También, gris.
Gris, todo gris.
Sí, tengo algo diseñado y voy a hacer un diseño arriba de todo. O sea, voy a hacer un mural en todo el. Y eso va a ser la base del.
Ya. Entonces necesitas que sea mate.
No, ustedes pinten, yo me averiguo.
Entonces la voy a pedir mate para que si cualquier pintura que o que apliques la absorba.
Perfecto.
¿Sí?
¿Cuándo van a querer entrar a hacer eso?
Ahorita vienen los muchachos.
Para empezar a quitarles las cosas del paraguas.
Se van a empezar a acomodar en una recámara para tratar de terminar lo más que se pueda hoy en la pasta. Y yo creo que en la tarde inician a sellar para ya mañana estar pintando.
Ok, perfecto.
¿Sí? Ok.
Muchas gracias.
Ahorita van a tocarte de nuevo.
Ahí dejen, no puedo dejar abierto todo. Pueden entrar cuando quieran, ¿no? O sea, mientras estén trabajando. Vente! Ándale, hiciste amigos nuevos, pero vente. Gracias. All right. Let's go. They're going to paint my house because of all the inconvenience. All right. I'm really wanting to illustrate my life, family, friend, wife. Any recommendations on where to start? Yes, go watch my videos. That's not just like a call to like, oh, hey, go watch my stuff. No, like I teach how to draw things from the beginning. Like I teach things very simply from like the very beginnings all the way to the very more complicated things about art. And I teach you how to relate those things along the way. So it's just a matter of finding the teacher that's really gonna help you instead of just try to benefit from you. And I don't want anything from you. So I am just honestly just throwing knowledge out there into the world. Something about me that happened just recently. I don't know why. And please don't worry about this because I don't want you guys to worry or think that nobody has to like save me or anything. But I have felt like I'm going to die soon. I don't know why. I have this really weird feeling and I'm at peace with it. Like it feels really weird. Okay, it's been feeling like that for like maybe like a year. So the sense of impending ending has led me to want to leave as much information into the world that will help people when I'm gone. And I know, it sounds weird. It sounds weird. Please don't feel like defeatist. I don't want to die and I don't want it to happen. Okay. So it's just weird. I don't expect you guys to understand why or how or what is going on, but that is what's leading me to want to get as much stuff out as much as possible. The whole point of making money out of it seems kind of irrelevant to me because there's nothing that I would do with that if I did and were to perish. So I have no need for money. Not right now, at least. And it's just something that kind of like weirds people out because everybody sees me as a business. Everybody sees me as like a possibility for money. And it's sometimes very discouraging and very like just sad for me because I don't know how to separate that. You know, like I don't want to necessarily make people like, you know, like feel like what they're doing and what they're bringing to the table is not great. But sometimes, you know, that's just not aligned with what I want to do. And, you know, it's been difficult to explain this to people. Me thinking about mortality is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not thinking about it as a negative thing. I have never done that. If I did that, I'd probably I'd take a lot more care of myself. But it's just, yeah, it's a weird thought to say. And like, needless to say, the reason that I'm saying that is because I have been driving to get as much out as possible so that I can feel fulfilled. And it's been a little weird. That's a weird feeling to have. So I hope that you guys are enjoying what I'm doing. And I hope that you guys take all these lessons and learn them and cherish them. And you guys eventually like teach them down to next people when you guys get really good at them. That's all that I ask. Because these are things that nobody taught me. All these things that I do, I kind of taught myself over the years. You know, like I didn't really have any drawing mentors. I had like animation mentors when it came down to like 3D animation and stuff like that. But I didn't know how to draw, so all my 3D models looked like shit. So it was like, okay, well, I know how to technically do it, but I can't practically do it. And it was just like, it always drove me nuts. So I taught myself how to draw so that I could possibly 3D model again. But then when I started drawing, I never touched 3D modeling again, because I was using 3D modeling as a crutch for what I really wanted to do, which was to be able to draw. My art and my inspiration to create art has vastly improved since joining your lives. Thank you. That's awesome. That's really lovely. Well, that's the goal, right? The goal is to, let's talk about connecting the two systems. So now that we know how to draw the lower body system and we know how to draw the upper body system, how do we connect them? Well, it's just an egg in a circle. It literally just becomes an egg and an overlapping circle. The bottom of the egg can be your belly button. And as we established before, the belly button aligns with your hip bones. So if you have those few measurements and you draw the exact same thing, you end up with very interesting, easy to follow poses that you can manipulate in any way you want. Power pose. Jumping. Kicking. I'm really struggling with this. What's your suggestion while mapping out the body? Well, isn't that what I'm teaching you? That's what I'm teaching you right now, right? An egg, an overlapping circle. The bottom of the circle gives me, if I split this circle in 4, I have hip bones. And any of this circle, any of the edges, I just need to choose 2 opposite points, and then I have hip bones. Draw the outside legs, and then into the inside volume. Compass. What's up, ladies? Yo, I am a cowboy. How do you draw a lean body with muscles? You need to learn muscles, right? If you want to draw muscles, you can't just draw boxes. You have to be able to draw musculature, and that comes with understanding your human body. By learning how to establish basic mapping points. By the way, this can move in different directions. Wherever, if you want your arms down, you can draw that pointing down. If you want your arms a little bit higher, you can draw that higher. If you want your arms completely up, you need to move that up. And that keeps your pectorals in line with wherever you want your body to go. Again, that gives you the width of your arm, and that gives you access to drawing those from cylinders or a sushi. Any recommendations on what to start on body or face? Start with your, if you had to start with both, one of those two. See, I would suggest drawing the face first, like learning the head, because it's really fun to draw heads, right? So if you learn how to draw the head and you learn just very basic mapping systems, again, like there's a bunch of them, but this is mine. The way that I draw my faces is very different than how other people draw them. And that's why the way that I draw tends to click with other people, but sometimes it doesn't click with people, and it's kind of interesting. If you learn how to draw heads, you can draw portraits, you can go draw caricatures, you can draw cartoons, you can draw a bunch of stuff if you learn how to draw heads. Learning how to draw heads doesn't have to be incredibly difficult. Don't overlap that. it's a matter of just understanding where to place the features. And a lot of people do it like this. A lot of people take their circle and they do this shit, right? This is what they do. When they do this, they're already establishing the bottom of their face. So they don't really, if they don't know what facial expression you're going to make, that you already like kind of established it without even knowing, because if you, hold on. Hey. Hey, tranquilo. Hey, stop. You stop right now. Hey. Stop. Stop. Squirming. That's why you have to be in your cage now. You don't know how to make friends. Hey, sit down. You sit down. Hey. There's visitors. Okay? Hands up. No. Sit back. Okay. Then see which features you can. Okay, kind of lost you guys there for a second. I always have problems with the chin. Something no one really asks: how to identify jaw movement for different expressions. Okay, let's talk about that. Anyways, let's talk about the mapping systems here. Doing this sucks because it gives you like no limitations. Like if you have like a closed mouth and an open mouth, you have to play with the same space unless you want to erase your stuff. I hate doing that. What I like to do, I like to draw my shape. I like to draw a triangle at the bottom, and I like to draw two little circles that go off of that. Boop, 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 boop. That gives me my eye space, and it gives me my nose space. From there, whenever I want to decide to draw the mouth, I can draw a teardrop depending on how big and how open I want my mouth to be. If I want my mouth closed, it can be right there. If I want my mouth open, I can extend that and make my mouth open. And then I start connecting my body. Because otherwise, the body would be completely different. So as you get better, you'll have the ability to do that stuff, right? As you get more refined with these things, you'll be able to modify them to anything you want. Like if you want, like, I don't know, another species or a different thing, you'll be able to modify these things to be able to draw different species. So gorillas, anything with a skull is going to be open game now. Because you have the ability to draw your skulls in different precisions. So when you get to that point, you're also going to be able to draw animals and stuff like that by just drawing a triangle and then drawing a shape, connecting it. You're going to be able to use this technique in a bunch of different ways to be able to draw all sorts of things. Pretty much anything with a skull is going to be open game. Anything with a skull will be able to be drawn relatively easy. Asking for a friend, how do you go from digital to paper? What? From digital to paper? Well, I don't know why you would backtrack. You would print it, I guess. If you're going to be doing digital and you want it on paper, you print it. Yeah, and if you want to scan it, you take a picture of it. Like, what? Anyways, well, we just uploaded a video on eyes. So if you guys want to go see that one, that video just came up on YouTube. That one's a really good one. If you guys want to get better at drawing eyes, that one's up. I believe today's is going to be our posing video that we did a couple days before. It's going to be this one. So if you guys want to get a little bit better at what we did today, that is a video you guys can go check out. That one's going to come out at noon. And I believe I do have videos coming out for Chibi Bodies. I don't know if that one already came out, but Chibi Bodies, that one was a good one. And then just doodle sessions. You know, we've done a couple doodle sessions with Pokemon, and you guys like giving me like themes to draw from memory. So there's been a bunch of cool videos lately, including today's. So today's will be uploaded, even with the interruptions. I hope that they don't make a complete mess. Hey, stop! Jesus Christ, puppy. Where's the pen? The pen is a Bic. How do you practice gestures? Well, first learn to draw a face. And then you start adding eyebrows. And then you start playing with different shapes. So you go, wah, wah, wah. Start playing to see what happens when you add more lines. And eventually you get to the point where you can draw really cool stuff very simply. And when you add more detail, it just makes it cooler. Like if you make it cool at this level, think of how cool you can make it if you actually take the time to draw more detailed stuff. So that is the whole concept of gestures and like, you know, emotions and stuff like that. It comes from understanding what the shapes do to your brain whenever you draw them. Sometimes they make you feel like it's a little bit anxious, a little bit. There's a bunch of different expressions. Like the combination alone between your eyebrows and your eyes can create pretty much the whole spectrum. Much less if you add like noses and mouths, then you have like the ability to make super complex expressions. Like try to get away from just the basic ones like angry, mad, or whatever. Try like drawing constipated. Yeah, like what would that look like? You know, that is the level to which you're going to be able to want to get to. To stray away from the basics, have the basics be so easy that it's so intuitive that you don't have to think about them. And then that is when creativity kicks in, and that is when you start becoming a little bit more you. That's when you comes out. That's when all the teachers' like lessons and crap go away, and that's when you get to show your personality, your showing, your style, your way of drawing. It comes from understanding and then dissecting and then creating. Okay? Think about like the Full Metal Alchemist thing. You know, like you have to deconstruct before and you have to put together, but the elements still have to be there. Full Metal Alchemist teaching us lessons all throughout life. Anyways, you guys have a fantastic Monday. Like I said, the streams will be sporadic and they're gonna be kind of like on and off here until they finish doing this stuff, hopefully by Wednesday. And once that happens, I get my studio back, I get my house back, I get everything back, and I can go full force again with these lessons. And seeing as I'm also finishing my stuff with 21 Draw, now I get to do stuff for myself too. So I'm going to start making courses. I'm going to start taking tutelage, more people. I'm going to make group sessions. I'm going to make group classes that are more targeted towards learning. So for professionals and people that want to get better with reviews and with just smaller groups, like maybe like 5 to 10 people, and then just do those throughout the week as well. I want to help more people. I just want to be able to reach more people as quickly as possible. So I'm going to start mapping all that stuff out. I already talked to publishers. There's a couple people interested in my book. So that's kind of cool. One dude is trying to like mentor me through everything, which is awesome. Like, it's amazing. I haven't had a mentor in years. So that'll be really fun to actually like venture into myself. And yeah, overall, everybody's doing it because they feel like what I'm doing is something positive. A lot of the support that I receive is just genuine support for people that want to do and follow what I do. So that's really nice to see. And, you know, that's what's carried my career. So I will keep giving good to the world, and the world will keep giving good to me. Take care, everybody. See you guys tomorrow for another lesson, or later today if I don't end up going to play pool. So take care. Love you all. See you guys later. And until then, just keep drawing, because that's the only way to get better. All right? Take care. See, Mustache says bye too.